Did Lightyear live up to Pixar's legacy? Well, let's find out. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the channel. This is GVNNaija, where we review movies, series, comics, animations, and video games. This is an animation. It's an animation that was done in an animated universe. Yes, that's what it is. Lightyear. They gave us a quick backstory that in, I think it was 98, a boy named Andy. So we know the Toy Story franchise, right? And we know about Andy and his toys. We've got Buzz Lightyear, Woody, Jessie, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, Forky. Forky's character is very funny, and I think that's a character that if the Toy Story was a horror movie, Forky might have been very scary, because Forky's just like a haphazardly put together kind of toy. But yeah, there is Forky. So this is the universe where we've got all of that, and the Toy Story, honestly, for me, also feels like one of those franchises that should remain evergreen and should never be touched, because it's kind of stuff that even, this is 2022, but even in 2023 or 2032 rather, 10 years from today, you can still watch with your kid, even though it was made then, and that kid will still appreciate it. You understand? It's just that good. It's evergreen. I mean, that's where we've got the classic song, "You've got a friend in me, you've got a friend in me." So there is legacy riding on this, and this is Pixar. Pixar is Pixar. there is so much that is attached to Pixar. I mean, I remember in one of my previous reviews I mentioned some of my favorites on Pixar. My number one is still Inside Out, but then we've got Wall-E, we've got the Toy Story, we've got a couple of other stuff. So with all that backstory stuff, now telling us that this is the movie that Andy got his love for Buzz Lightyear from. It's already set a sort of standard that you just have to live up to. And that's what a lot of people, myself inclusive, were expecting. Now, was this movie bad? Because it's an animated movie. Did it suck? Did it live up to Pixar's legacy? Not particularly. But in my opinion, I won't still say it sucked. And here are the reasons why. The Buzz Lightyear character, played by Chris Evans, has a sort of stoic but military, straight to the point approach, and is the kind of man that wants to get it done. He's a space ranger, and his job is to fly into space, to infinity and beyond. Even though they did not do a lot of infinity and beyondish thing in this movie, because it was just a lot of being marooned on one planet because of a mistake that was made at the start of. It's like, okay, we want to tell our story on this planet, but then we did not have a very, very convincing way of marooning these guys on this planet. And why am I saying that? Okay, so if you want to find out whether a planet is hostile or not, you will not just send your entire mothership onto it. You will not just land on it, From my understanding and really reconnaissance and normal intelligence gathering, what you would do is you'll be hovering even in space outside of that planet's orbit, and then you send a probe down onto the surface of the planet to check things out. But that wasn't the case this time around. They set their entire ship with all the people in cryo sleep and everything on it. And of course, lo and behold, the planet turned out to be hostile. He tried to get them out of it, but they could not get out of it. And yeah, they were marooned on that planet. So that initially felt like, I know you want to be marooned on this planet, but this is not how you should have done it, But then that happened, and now the mission is for them to find their way back into space to explore other planets, to see where life is very, very viable to live on. So that is the overarching premise of Buzz's story. So that is his mission, to get the entire human race, at least his crew, everybody out of there. And we've got some really nice things. Like, one thing I would say I particularly enjoyed was a montage sequence. So the way it goes, and first and foremost, this is going to have a couple of spoilers, so here is your spoiler warning. So the way it goes is, because of the concept of time dilation, when he tries to go into light speed, when he tries to test the new engine fuel for them to go into light speed and continue their journey, but every time he goes into space to test it, 4 years passes down on that planet. So it's crazy, because trial number 1, 4 years have passed. Trial number 2, another 4 years. And these things add up. I mean, who knew where we were, 8 years ago, and where we would be 8 years from now? A lot of things will change. You So with this concept of time dilation, multipliers of 4, so you've got 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 16 years, and it keeps, oh sorry, I skipped 12, but you get my gist, and it keeps going on and on and on and on. I mean, a lot happens in a year. Remember COVID, 2019 and 2020, look at the world we're in now. It's not even 4 years after 2019, and a lot of stuff has happened. Talk less of you just going up for something that just feels like 4 minutes for you. It's 4 years in the lives of people. So a lot of things changed. Now, of course, it got to the point where his friend, the space ranger, and that was the montage sequence that I also really did like. Every time he would land on Earth, she would be the one to come pick him up, catch him up on things, and of course she's moving on with her life. She's getting older, and there was one of the scenes where she was driving him back and she was sleeping. She was sleeping, and he tried to wake up because they were really up the road. She hit his hand. She was like, I'm awake. Okay, I think that was also funny. And now, of course, as he keeps going on more tests, 4 years keep passing, and his friend and commander is dead. Now, it got to the point where she now had a replacement, and of course she sent him a goodbye message because she said by the time he gets back, which will be 4 years their time, but 4 minutes this time, she will already be dead. And of course she was dead. But then he got the message and he felt sad. Now in this entire time, after the very first time he went, he got a pet companion named Socks. For me, I think Socks is my favorite character from this entire animation. I love Socks. And that's the funny thing. I think that's where, and I'm going to expand a bit more on it later in this review, but I think that's where there was a bit of disconnect for me, and I think a lot more people. See, if you say this is the movie that Andy got the inspiration from to get the Buzz Lightyear toy, I think Andy would have gotten a Socks toy over a Buzz Lightyear toy because Socks was just so adorable, so awesome. I mean, real life Disney and Pixar, I bet they've already made toys that they are going to sell for Socks because Socks is going to sell. That's just the truth. Socks was just so awesome. And of course, speaking of Socks' arc in this movie, after the first encounter, he gave Lightyear gave Socks a task to figure out what went wrong or what is going wrong with the show and to come up with a better one. And yes, coincidentally, which is just a neat way of saying nice storytelling or interesting storytelling, the moment he finds out his friend is dead, the admiral, and they find out that they are about to decommission the cat, which I also think is a bit of a disconnect also, because here's the thing, you're trying to tell a story, right? But then this cat, and I know it applies in real life too, where veterans, army veterans are given like a pet companion to help them with PTSD, to help them adjust. So now this is a man that he has been doing this for quite some time, and I get it that you are ending the program that is going to go into deep space, and you said, okay, we are going to set root on this planet and we're going to make it happen on this planet. But my question to you is this: why take the pet companion from him? This is a man that would be suffering PTSD as far as we know. So is it that you just said, okay, he's going to be fine, now that he did not just lose all that time, but he just lost his best friend, and somehow you want to take the pet companion that is meant to be able to help him to readjust to life on that planet? So it felt like a bit of a disconnect, but hey, he gave us a dope action sequence. He got to escape, and also even the process of escaping. So you guys have found out that this guy is off base, right? He has run away from his room with the pet. You know he's a space ranger. I mean, you don't need too much maths or any sort of calculation for this, but since you know he's a space ranger, you will know that he will probably try to steal a jet. So I would think you will put some of your best efforts to stationing more guards around that place when you realize that this man is missing. But no, you did it. He even found a way to bypass all of that and escape. But anyway, he escapes. We continue with the story, and he finally gets it right. So that formula worked. The new type of fuel, the crystallized fuel, it worked. So he escapes, and now it's longer than 4 years. It's about 16, 17 or so years. And now he's in a much further ahead future where it looks like these robots have come to attack them. Now he needs to find a way to destroy the robot army and get the guys back. That way he can fly them off the planet, because finally he's found a solution. And yeah, this is where he now meets a ragtag team of people that includes the granddaughter of his best friend and a couple of other people, and one of them who just makes mistakes. And truth be told, if not for the sake of this story, someone like that should not be part of a mission, because that person will just get you killed more times than he will save your life. That's just the truth. But hey, it's an animation, don't take it too seriously. You're watching it with the mind of a child, or with your child, and your child is not going to take it too seriously if it looks like a lot of fun. So yeah, that's what this is. But then here's the thing: if you say this story was based off the original, this is a movie universe in another universe that is in our universe, that's the Toy Story universe. Zurg is Buzz Lightyear's father, according to the original Toy Story story, the franchise. But then in this one, they decided to add a little bit of a plot twist. Instead, Buzz is Zurg, but then sometime in the future, gasp, plot twist. No, it's not a plot twist. You guys, while I understand that there's a lot of burden on storytelling when it has to do with a prequel, at the same time, you have to respect the source material. And I think that is where Buzz Lightyear, the Lightyear movie, also got it wrong. I get it that there are people who are new to the franchise, so there's a new audience, right? But it's like I said, and it's funny because I said it in my Miss Marvel review, and I'm saying it in this review again. And these two companies are now owned by Disney. I don't know what is going on at Disney. I honestly don't understand, because there is a part of me that just feels like Disney should never have touched some franchises or some companies as a whole. I don't know why. I don't know. It feels like maybe this is not a case of they're going to get it wrong a couple of times before they get it right. I don't know what the mindset behind it was, and it feels like I'm beginning to rant instead of review. But the truth is this: when there is a source material, even if you want to make something of it, respect the source material. Because if you don't, it's like you're just flipping off all the fans. You're giving them the middle finger. And it showed clearly this time around with the box office numbers. I mean, I get that Buzz Lightyear was against a couple of heavyweights. I did review the Top Gun Maverick movie, which I think is still one of the best movies of this year. I felt really good. I mean, my review is up here. You can check it out. So I remember that, right? And I know Jurassic World was also there. Now, while Jurassic World does not feel, it's not Top Gun Maverick great, it's still a franchise that will make money. And funny enough, as far as that franchise is concerned, I'm going to be doing a review on it later, they stuck true to the source material. You guys didn't. So I get that they were also against a lot of competition in the box office, right? In the cinemas. But then you did not stick true to the source material. Zurg cannot be Buzz Lightyear's father in the source material, who is the antagonist. And then in this one is a Buzz from the future, and you are like, oh, we have shocked them. See shock value. No, you've just further disconnected the audience from the story you're trying to tell. And that's what it felt like also. So overall, is Buzz Lightyear worth it? Is this something that you can just sit and chill in the house and watch with your family, your husband, your wife, your kids? Yes, I think it is. But it's not particularly great, and I don't think it's something that, you know, the way those of us in our 20s and 30s now, and even maybe those in their 40s, still remember Toy Story very fondly. I don't think your kid will watch the Lightyear animation and remember it fondly when they're in their late teens or their 20s or their 30s. So that's what this one feels like. So yeah, did it live up to Pixar's legacy? No. Was it a terrible watch? No. It was just somewhere in the middle. It wasn't Luca bad. I remember reviewing Luca and giving it, I think it was a 5 or a 6. So it wasn't Luca bad. But it is not Toy Story great or Inside Out great. Nah. It's not even as good as Turning Red, in my opinion. It is okay. If the Lightyear movie was an original IP, an original story, it wasn't burdened by the need for continuity and all that, maybe it would have done better. But see, the fact that you people said it with your mouth from the very first scene in the movie that this is where Andy fell in love with Lightyear and bought the Buzz Lightyear toy. And you know, the way his character also got his jetpack, you know, the way everything sort of came together, it was cute to watch. But then you guys still made it look like a far cry from the source material. So that's why I feel like this definitely is not a Toy Story 10 over 10. It gets a rating of 7 over 10 from me. It wasn't terrible to watch, but it's not something that would be memorable in any way. It was just okay. So yeah, that is it for this review. If you've liked this review, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. It really does help the channel out, especially your comments. Thank you for all of that. Feel free to check out this video or this video next to see some of our other drop reviews on the channel. It's been Tech for GVN. Live long and prosper.